Well, I have something to tell you. Well, I have a lot to tell you, but I have something to start with. You know, there was quite a competition to determine who would be the principal celebrant on this feast day of St. Patrick. And it was only settled by, we went high tech, a DNA test. And in that DNA test, it showed that I had the closest connection to St. Patrick. But not how you would think. Stay tuned. And it's not that the other guys were sore losers and that's why they're not here today. There's another reason. Another thing, I'm really controversial today. Not to cause a fight, not to scandalize anyone, but if you haven't heard before, St. Patrick was not of Irish descent. Don't throw anything at me. Instead, he came from what was called Britain in his time. He became a missionary to Ireland, just like our founder, Father Peyton, was a missionary to the world. And I was thinking, and in a sense, so are Father Fred, Father Pinto, Father Bobby, are missionaries to the US and beyond through their work for Holy Cross Family Ministries. Well, here's the reason that I have the strongest claim on St. Patrick, and it's this. My dad is of English descent, and my mother is of Irish descent, which is a whole story unto itself. We're not going to get into it. But you know, behind the rivalry of claiming a saint is this. It is the recognition of a man or a woman's, a boy's or a girl's success in faithfully doing God's will in an extraordinary way, a way that inspires us to follow their courageous and their holy example. As many of you know, St. Patrick's story is one of that. And no matter where you or your family originate, it offers hope, especially in tough times. For as a young man, Patrick was kidnapped by pirates, he was taken to Ireland, and he was a slave. 6 long years later, he escaped, and he returned to Britain and was later ordained a priest. I was thinking about this and how most of us would want to leave those trials of our past behind and to remain in the safety and familiarity of our homeland. However, Pope Celestine saw something in the future saint that caused him to send then Father Patrick back to Ireland to evangelize the Irish. There's another tough one. As someone growing up hearing the term Irish Catholic all the time, it is so hard to imagine that Ireland was not Catholic at one time. But it wasn't. And because of Ireland's pagan members were hostile to Christianity, the then Father Patrick was in constant danger. And here's something that I think we can learn from St. Patrick that applies to all people, and it is how we faced adversity. St. Patrick, like our founder, Venerable Patrick Peyton, confidently placed his trust in God, something that all of us can follow when we have trials in our lives, when things seem to heat up in conflict, both with others or internally, for those times that we feel we're in a spiritual drought, we have a lack of peace, we have financial struggles, health problems, you name it. If we have deep roots with God, then we won't just make it through these times, but our efforts will bear fruit. Both Venerable Patrick Peyton and his namesake, they did experience trials as they sought to follow God, just as each one of us does, no matter our age, our ancestry, or our homeland. We know it's inevitable that our faith will be tested, sometimes daily. But we see in each holy man named Patrick a reason to believe that God's grace is leading us to see the good that we are called to do and the ability to do it. Father Peyton brought the faith of his parents and also of St. Patrick with him to the United States and then to the world, following his missionary namesake with the same courageous zeal for evangelizing men and women and boys and girls of all nations. At the time of his death, St. Patrick would see an Irish clergy in place and that Christianity had reached nearly all of Ireland. All because God used the time of trial in Patrick's life to see the plight of the Irish while he too suffered as a slave. And then, as Father Peyton would later do, St. Patrick, once freed, wanted to repay God with his life for others. So my brothers and sisters, on this St. Patrick's Day, let us be inspired to be rooted in our faith in God, believing that he can bring good out of hard times and the grace to see our ways through even the most challenging times. Happy St. Patrick's Day to one and all, and St. Patrick, pray for us.